welcome everyone here. Lisa Pendon, which hopefully you can see, I'm not sure what your screen is, mine in this top left. And Dila Karel, is that how you pronounce it, Dila?
That's right.
Terrific, terrific. And welcome to, I guess, a slightly unusual, slightly different employability seminar where we're going to talk a little bit about business. Dila, I lost your video, but we'll keep talking.
Yeah.
Yes, so we've got a slightly unusual one where we actually, I guess, some might say it's that time of the year, it's the tax time. So we got some tax questions from potentially our international students, also foreign, more recently graduated or foreign, let's say qualified foreign migrants, as well as anybody who's interested in getting a job and in minimizing their tax. We've got a specialist accountant, Dila Karel, to talk to us about that. You've been accounting for like 12 or more years, haven't you?
Yeah, since 2010. Back home since 2006.
Oh, yes, that's right.
But
so
in Australia since 2008. I'm practicing as a registered tax agent.
Terrific. And we also got Lisa Pendon, who's a specialist in advising people how to start businesses and growing their business. And Lisa has been involved in a lot of government programs, the NISE program, which is a federal government program to help people to start their businesses, people who may be looking to start it from scratch, let's say not so much on the side, but actually seriously taking their business to the next, or starting and taking it to the next level. And also you also got a state government program that you're involved with. Lisa, what's that program called again?
Yeah, it's called Business Connect. So it's a state government funded business advisory service. So I'll tell you more about it later when we get into a few things. And if anyone's got questions about it, I'm more than happy to answer. And also I'll share a link later as well. But it's about helping people that are residents of New South Wales to either start a business or grow a business. So I deal with startups, some people even on their exit strategy that are actually selling their businesses. So it's really cool.
Terrific. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. And I know you've done like a long time, and you've lectured at international colleges on business as well. You've probably seen a whole gamut of different types of businesses that people want to start, and I guess have an idea about what works and what doesn't work. And a lot of our, I guess, potential migrants will be looking at that side of it. Now, I know you can't give too much advice on registration and tax.
But I've got a really good link for you because I'll tell you more about it.
Depend on visas, but as long as you can ABN, and a lot of international students can get an ABN because they can contract via an ABN.
100%. Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to be a resident to start a business in Australia.
100%.
So we'll generally cover this. We've got about an hour. We'll leave it open for questions. So if you look in your box, there's a chat box which you can put chat on, but also I've got a Q&A box. So if you like, you can ask directly right there, so we can actually specifically see a Q&A. So on the bottom, you might be able to see that. That's a Q&A box. And I'll just check that we're live as well. So Dinka, could you just mention, Dinka, who's the head of Student Job Australia, if you can just check for us that we're live. I can't quite see it on my feed, but I just wanted to make sure that we are. And if we're not in, oh, yes, we are. We are live on Facebook.
I can see it on my feed. It says live on Facebook. Yep.
So what I'll do is I'll start with yourself, Dila.
Yep.
We've got tax time.
Yes.
And I know when I was a student, I wasn't an international student, but I was born overseas and I came to Australia and I studied here and I was a student. Every dollar made a difference. And perhaps I did some things which I didn't know were true or not. I couldn't afford a tax accountant then. And back in those days, not that many people went to an accountant to do their tax. I probably missed out on a lot of deductions. And I probably claimed stuff that I shouldn't have claimed. I didn't actually know, but I guess it wasn't a high income level. So I thought, near enough is good enough. As long as I get some money. That's not my advice, by the way. It's not my advice. But I know that sometimes there's the practical side and there's the the expert perspective. So given that you're an expert, and perhaps some of these people will come to you, but perhaps they can't necessarily afford to come to you, what advice could you give to people looking to do the tax? What are claims that people might miss out on, and what are claims that people make a mistake to try to claim, perhaps, which you know about as well?
All right. Firstly, my apology that technically I'm just a little bit late on joining the meeting, and secondly, I would like to thank you, Diklam and team, for this opportunity and to share my knowledge and experience and learnings. The taxation in Australia is always a very good topic of learning. We all can, every year need to be updated, as the government has keep on updating and changing its legislation in terms of laws and practicality as well. You already, just shared that previously there was not much culture visiting tax accountants and registered tax agents or professionals to do their tax. These days also, many people, they just want to do it. They can do on their own, but what I just want to mention here is they need to learn and know the rules properly. If anyone, it's not that tough job, lodging the simple tax returns. If you just work for one employee full time, or more than one employer and part time or full time or casual basis, it's not that hard enough. But before lodging, you have to know the rules and prerequisites for that particular financial year set by the government. The Australian Taxation Office every year updates about how do we report the income and what are the related expenses we claim on it, and then what are the offsets available as well. So if you know all that, and if you spend real time on learning the tax updates of every financial year that was released by Australian Taxation Office and government, and if you are confident enough, you can do it easily. But I always say, just have a professional's opinion on it. Visit tax agent or tax accountant to lodge your income tax properly.
Understood. And I guess if we get off, let's say they did a bit of research, and maybe they don't necessarily have time, and you're an expert, so you do this all the time. What are some common things that people should be aware of to increase their refund, let's say, that can claim? Simple things like uniform you can, but normal clothes you can't. What could be like that? But also, sort of common things that people get involved with. Without being too technical, just some common things that.
Thank you for the question. See, it's a very general but very, very important thing we need to know. In general, whole year you did your hard work. You spend your time, knowledge, energy to earn that money, that hard-earned wages, and the tax paid by your employer to you. Is your gross income, the net income and tax, that's your. And then you need to contribute to government according to the law prescribed by government, right?
Dila, just let me cut you off there. Sorry, I agree with that. But are there some sort of common things that people will make?
Yeah, common things is the income you need to know is just general salary and wages or allowance or any other type of income you derive. You need to know that. Then after, what are the eligible deduction you need to prepare for to maximize your refund amount?
What are some of those
on that note, what are these is, if you have multiple jobs, you can claim traveling expenses. Like if you travel with your car, you can claim that as a cents per kilometer, or you can maintain the logbook and claim that travel expenses as well. As you already said, the work-related clothings, and due to this COVID-19 period, if you have worked for any employer and then you purchase any special dresses, any special safety related dresses, this year you can claim that as well, because you use that for your work purpose to keep yourself extra safe. right? Travel related expenses, clothing expenses, laundry, and then your, depending on your profession, if you are IT technician, IT developer, or a software developer, if you buy a tablet, laptops, if you're doing a research, the programming language book, and any sort of things that you invested for your employment uh, generation, the thing that was directly related to generate your income, anything in general, but you have to relate it to increase your income, or it is related to generate your income, you can claim that in general.
Understood. So just a quick one. I guess this is a yes or no. So I can just do this quickly. You mentioned travel expenses. Someone travels from home to work. That's not claimable, is it?
Not claimable. Yep.
Not claimable. So travel is from, let's say if they're going to university.
Job.
Let's say if I'm going from study to a job, is that claimable?
No.
No.
Job to job only. If you do
job to
two
job.
jobs, and then for one job, if you just work for two locations, like for many students, we are more talking about international students as well. If they're working for two McDonald's or two Hungry Jacks, or one Hungry Jacks and another McDonald's, and they travel from one to another.
And that's fine. Understood. All right. Terrific. So Lisa, I'll get on to you now. So you've coached a lot of different programs, government sponsored, otherwise, just young people often starting their businesses, which may be a lot of our audience is, and there might be foreign culture, there might be migrants, they may be just looking to start something on the side first. If we look at this sort of a young person, a lot of energy, bit of ambition, perhaps culturally not quite adapted yet, they have to learn, they're getting used to the culture. What are some really important traits that you found that, let's say, young foreign professionals and business people really need, that you find that is sort of the thing that helps them succeed?
It's really interesting because I actually think sometimes not being part of the culture is an advantage because, and I could say that I came to Australia about 30 years ago from the UK. And I worked, in Australia on a work visa. And being from another country was actually an advantage in many ways. But a lot of it, I think, is a confidence thing. I think a lot of international students, and I've been teaching international students for about 5 years now on a casual. I work as a contractor. And teaching international students, so I get a good feel there. There is a confidence thing because there's a slight cultural difference. But I think most of them really try their best to fit in with the Australian culture. But I really have to be quite honest, you don't have to fit in 100%. A lot of it's confidence. I've got a list of a few things that I think are particular traits that are helpful for anyone thinking about starting a business. And passion is my number one thing. Be passionate about what you do. And I can talk a bit more about that later. Determination. The business journey is a journey. It's ups and downs, round and round, and backwards some days. Yeah. So having really good determination on what you want to succeed. And that's around having clear goals. Be really clear on what you want to do. Be a bit creative. I think having a different cultural background, international students have a great opportunity because they can be more creative and they see creative things from their home country that might not be in Australia, which is absolutely awesome. And another, I've got a couple more. Be nimble, and nimble means pivot quickly if it's not working. Yes. Be nimble, not just on your feet. If you know what nimble means, you can change direction quickly if you need to. Tech savvy and financial savvy. So know your numbers and know your tech, because I think online marketing these days is massive. And be courageous. Honestly, it takes courage to start and run a business. Millions of people do it. I think the economy in Australia is held up by small business owners that are sole traders. So be courageous and give it a go. Absolutely.
And there's a lot of, I guess, opportunity now that, when something closes, things open up. There's obviously the online is a big thing now, but we don't necessarily think it's necessarily better. It's just different. are there some sort of types of business or opportunities that you see, or is it, you mentioned passion, and obviously if someone's passionate about something that they do what they know, then it's easier.
Yes.
But is that the main ingredient, or can they do something which they just saw an opportunity in? Is there some opportunities that they are in the market perhaps that you sort of see that, you know, an enthusiastic, passionate person can do well in, even if there's not their life purpose, I guess?
100%. You know, I think COVID has been an interesting challenge for many, many, many business owners, but I think it's creating people to think differently. And I think it's about being open to opportunities. I think, you know, when you've got to be open to see opportunities, because if you say, oh no, this is, you know, bricks and mortar, great example. Who's going to open a shop right now? It might now, you know, there might be a chance now to plan for the future to do your bricks and mortar or something like that, and have a retail store. But I think the opportunities that are coming out now are mainly online. I think there's a massive opportunity in homewares right now because everyone's at home.
And doing their stuff from home.
Doing their stuff at home and buying from home. I think if you go and look at probably IKEA shares, they've probably gone up a lot because they're all flat packing their whatevers. I think there's opportunity around online training because people have got time.
Yes.
I think there's opportunities around, you know, building a foundation now where things are in lockdown or semi-lockdown now as we come out of lockdown, hopefully, to get that foundation right and do all your homework, do your research, do your market research, kind of look for those little niches that are popping up because COVID's closing a lot down. So, but I think the big thing is being courageous and actually doing some more research and finding out what you know, what's going on, and looking overseas to see what's happening overseas to say, okay, so it's happening in the UK now. I think we follow the UK and we follow the US in lots of trends like that too.
Yes, no, I definitely agree with that. Yes. And Adila, just back to you now.
Yep.
Tax for business, and also you also mentioned to me that one topic people would be aware of is identity, a stolen identity. So who do you give your tax file number to? Who do you give details to? So I guess if I just ask you this broad question, do you recommend that people, I guess, yeah, I guess if someone starts a business at home, and Elisa, you probably mentioned this to me too, that sometimes it's worth doing a business on the side and having a job because that helps you, because the business might not take off straight away. Having I guess as a tax benefit, we mentioned the transport, but if you have a business at home and then go to work, that's counted, I guess, if you say technically you traveling from a workplace, which is your home, to another workplace, that's claimable. And often your electricity, your phone bill and such can be claimable too. And technically your business can make a loss and offset whatever income that you make otherwise, couldn't it?
That's right. You have answered many things in your question. But always, you know, as Lisa already said, the starting business, the business journey has always, you know, ups and downs and rounds and rounds. You never know how it goes, but depends the creativity you have and the strong determination. The profit and loss, it is a technical matters, but the creativity and energy that you inbuilt in self and you start our business as a self-starter, whether it is in a very, very small scale and large scale. From the tax point of view, the associated expenses these days from last year, the offset amount has been increased to 150,000. If you bought or invest anything for your business up to 150,000, you can directly offset it, which is great, fundamentally a good perspective, you know, and that is a high amount that can a business owner offset easily for that particular year. They don't have to go through the depreciation schedule and things, and always your associated expenses, they can claim it, and then if it is a negative and it is a loss, they can carry it over for next year and next year.
Right. Terrific. And I guess you've seen a lot of business tax returns too. Is that correct, Dila?
Yeah, we do.
Um,
We do look after many small businesses.
And I guess you see, without disclosing anything confidential, you see certain people do well and certain people who don't do well. Are there any traits that you see? Maybe they spend more marketing, or maybe they spend less on marketing, or these sort of characteristics. What are the people that you see have good turnover, do well, and perhaps are fairly successful? What are there any sort of certain traits, or maybe industries, or the way they spend the money that you see that helps them become successful?
Yeah, actually, what happens in small business, and the one man or more, hardly very few people make a decisions. And then sometime they always only after the client and service focus, rather the other areas like marketing, advertisement, their, based on corporate social responsibility, they have to spend their time to other aspects as well. But in small business, they just decide within by very few people, and they just focus on client only. If they have spent about $1,000 for marketing, they could have generated 20,000 turnover. Rather, they just focus on client meetings and spend 500 visiting on them. In a small business, what I can see is a lacking of management and team decision making, and they lack seeing the other areas of business is not only providing a service and get a revenue or service fee from the client, but it is also a balancing the associated aspect like marketing, advertisement, staff management, admin, all these things. They were overlooked somehow. The small business were more client focused and service focused, so they're missing on that note, and their expenses, rather they can manage it well to make their business better off. These are the lacking. But having a small business focusing on client and one man decision is very very quick and timely, and on that note they were progressing as well. But if they really built up a team and then think twice for other areas to spend, they sometimes spend thousands and thousands in repair and maintenance. They want to install the AC at their office location. They want to have a beautiful chair, or any other type of investment within. If they have invested that for some sort of community sponsorship, donations, or even social marketing, they would have reached to more clients and generate more revenue. Sometimes they lacking that one.
Yes, no, I agree. It's
yeah,
the idea of looking at it as a business rather than looking as a job servicing a customer, isn't it? You're trying to grow a business rather than trying to do a job. Getting yourself nice finish and having meetings with people directly. No, I agree. And Lisa, you probably see that.
I see it a lot. Yeah, I see it a lot.
Marketing is a weakness, isn't it? Marketing and sales.
Sales I think is a weakness a lot for a lot of people, because they think it's they think sales is a dirty word, whereas no, it's about helping the right people improve their lives. So it's an interesting one, because I deal with mostly sole traders, which are people that are self-employed, just work on their own. They don't have employees. And so the challenge with that is they wear so many hats. For me, my business, I'm a sole trader. I do hire some contractors to do some stuff, but I'm doing my own marketing. I'm doing my own sales. I'm doing, what I do to make money. I'm doing my own accounts. Actually, I don't do my accounts. I have a bookkeeper and an accountant. That'll make you feel better. Because I'm not good at accounts.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm terrible at accounts.
I'm terrible at accounts. It's not fun for me. I'm really good at numbers. So I know my numbers in my business, but I don't want to do all that other stuff. So my theory in that is earn enough money so you can pay an accountant to do a great job and get me as much tax back as possible. So yeah, but I think being a sole trader, you wear many, many hats, and it is that juggling act on where you focus your time and energy.
Right. Just remind everyone, if you want to ask a panelist any questions, you type in the Q&A box. I'll just type something to say hello. But Lisa, I know you got some stuff resources you can link people to, and also Dila, you can also just put in the chat box anything that you want to refer people to legislation or rules. Lisa, just on the business side again, you've coached a lot of people. Are there some sort of enlightening stories that people could learn from that you found that, maybe the guy just started with a bread roll shop or something, or he could have done an online business or something. Anything that might be helpful for our audience to understand how someone could succeed, where someone could fail even, just to open people's eyes to what sort of business and what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely possible. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop into chat now. My number one bit of advice is write a really good business plan. Okay, so I've just popped a link in chat for everyone to, does it go to everybody?
Yes, no, just change it from all panelists to all panelists and attendees.
Yeah, I've done it. There you go.
Yes. Yeah, perfect. So
yeah.
hopefully everyone received that.
So I think there are so many people that I know that, have got a hobby of some description. They're often in the corporate world. They want to get out, or they're just unhappy in what they're doing. And it's then working out, you've got a hobby, and it's very, very different having a hobby to having an actual business. And the thought process is actually quite different as well. But I've got clients, I've got a lady that she was a corporate person. I'm in the Blue Mountains, and she was traveling to the city every day from the mountains. So she was doing about 3 hours of travel every day.
Wow.
But she was earning a significant amount of money. But she just loves animals. So she now is a pet walker in the mountains.
Wow.
What she's done, she's grown her business from just walking a few dogs to now she bakes dog biscuits and sells dog biscuits, and she has pets. She goes and house sits for pet people where pets are with their parents, and their owners are on holidays and things like that. So, and she was just really passionate about animals and wanted to change her life, because I think the corporate world is a changing world. Who else have I got? I've got a yoga teacher. She started in yoga also, for her personal experience. She went to India and worked in an ashram for 5 years.
Wow.
And she was really, really passionate about it. So went and did that, spent 5 years in an ashram, come back to Australia, and now teaches yoga full time. She takes people on retreats. When COVID came on, she pivoted her business to go online within a week and things like that. So really, and it says, from doing something as a hobby or something that you love to having a big business, for her, it's been a long 6-year journey and building this. But she's happy, she's healthy. And I think, having a bit of determination, this is where the determination, the passion comes in of, I'm a big believer, anything's possible if you put your mind to it. And, sometimes we look at our bank account and we look at it too seriously, and we just got to think, am I happy? And, what could I do to start a business? And I always say to all of my clients, get a part-time job. First thing, get a part-time job. You can pay the rent, you can pay your bills, and then start building a business on the side, because it does cost money to start a business. It's and that might be marketing money and things like that. But take the risk and do it. And you'll make mistakes, but you just have to get up and keep moving forwards and learn from your mistakes, and and learn a lot, I think, on that journey.
Terrific. Yes. That's some great stories there. And I guess from my own experience, it is, you don't necessarily succeed in your first business. It's good to have something to fall back on. Otherwise you get into that sort of desperate feeling and then you treat your customers differently. You don't really run a business in the end. You sort of become a slave to your own business in a way, as you no longer enjoy it. And I think the point about hobbies don't always make money.
No.
So you've got to look at the commercial side, which is why Business Plan just helps people put that together. And one of the biggest obstacles that I found for anybody is they never actually even did some rough numbers before they started. If you look at a lot of restaurants, I used to have a Ross restaurant, but I walk into restaurants and I think this guy's not going to make money, even if it's a great idea, just doesn't have enough seats, let's say.
Yeah.
You know, if I fill this place up, he's never even going to make a basic wage with the rent he might pay and all the costs. So doing numbers on the top of your head, on the back of an envelope even, just to get started, to see if this hobby or this idea is going to pay. And it's often the reason why someone else hasn't done it. It's because
and that's right. And the thing is, it's actually all about numbers.
Yes.
It really is. It's like a business is about making money, and a business is about making money to live the lifestyle that you would like to live. So if the numbers don't add up, then that's not a business.
No.
It really comes down to, and I say that, so the government business plan that I've put the link in, it's about 29 pages long, to be honest. And I would say, go to the last 5 pages and do the numbers first. And you'll love this as an accountant. Here you go, Dilla. It's like, go to the last 5 pages, do the numbers first. And if the numbers don't add up, then don't do the business plan because the numbers don't add up.
Yes.
So forget the first 15 pages.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an interesting one, but I think, you know, this is where the passion and determination comes in, because and I think this is where I'm really, you know, wants people to say, what are you passionate about? And you might not know yet, but go and do some things and try and find out what it is. Because if you're passionate people in business sell more, earn more, and convince more people to spend money with them. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Yeah, no, agreed. And it's that was getting more money out of them. Dilla, I'll just hand back to you quickly. I know you're adjusting your camera. There was a couple of things that you wanted to mention. Also, you know, we've got COVID happening right now. So it could be business related, could be just being an employer, part-time, as a student or otherwise. What are the changes that people can take advantage of now that there's COVID? And also Medicare levies you mentioned, and also identity theft. Can you sort of wrap that up in an answer? Sort of something that happened, I guess.
Actually, thank you for the questions. COVID-19 itself is a very unprecedented, and you know, making benefit out of it is we cannot even imagine. It's been, you know, everyone's life, and the world has been kind of you know, stocked with this. But you use a very good term. How can a taxpayer, a worker, can you know, utilize is for maximizing their tax return is if any employee, any worker, they works in tax due to COVID-19, this lockdown and then environmental situation, if they work from home, government has you know, clearly mentioned it that the per hour, if you work from home, every hour you can claim 80 cents.
80 cents.
80 cents per hour as an expenses if you have worked from home during this COVID situation from March 1 to June 30.
How many hours is that? I want to know.
You can calculate it from March 1, you know, Monday to Friday, 7.5 into it. It's not that much anyway. But that's the one facility they can claim it. And government has, you know, especially within Australia, they made 2 types of responses on this COVID-19. One is health response, which is absolutely good and, you know, praiseworthy. Likewise, the economic response for individual taxpayers and business. The government has really brought up many brilliant ideas to just support the small business, large business, and individual like sole trader, like carpenter, plumber, whatever they are doing. But government has responded it well by its economic response, and they can make it best for their tax minimization if they are getting refund for maximization. You know, thinking positively, as I'm listening Lisa earlier to start up a business, the passion or determination, which is really important. Likewise, COVID-19 is unprecedented and we cannot make it best. But for technically, for tax purpose, business and individual taxpayer with this situation within the boundary or the law made by government, we can make it best. Number one, for all individual who worked from home, they can claim per hour 80 cents, eligible hours they work from home. And then for the business sole trader or a small business or large scale business, government has provided a tax-free income. The cash boost provided by government is to be reported, but it is a GST-free income. They don't need to pay the cash boost they have received. They don't need to pay GST on it. Like different state government has provided the state level grants. These incomes are also a GST-free income. So this is how the COVID-19 effect in human life is, terrible. I even cannot explain it. I don't want to even think about it. But for this tax perspective and from business point of view, given the situation and according to the government legislation, they can make best out of it.
Okay, so just to clarify that, and just so everyone know, I posted a couple of, some of you may be interested in the business, but you might be interested in just getting a job part-time as a student as well. Student Job Australia is the one hosting this group. Just to clarify, GST-free, so working from home. So just to clarify, what is GST-free again? That you can...
No, I mean the cash boost received from government to all the businesses.
Okay.
The cash boost is a high amount, like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. That was the income to be reported, but you don't have to pay GST on it.
Okay, no, understood. All right, great. Identity theft, I think it was a topic you were very interested in talking about. Who do you give the tax file to, tax file number to? Who do you not give it to?
Yeah. Actually, the Australia is very, very concerned about people's privacy. By law also, they want to protect, individuals' privacy. And there is a strict law regarding that. But within this taxation matter, there are many, many individuals and business suffering from this tax file number, misuse or theft, or, the scammers, somehow they scamming it. And then individual were getting threat. Their tax file number has been misused, So what I mean is, do not disclose your tax file number or use it until and unless you are legally required to do so. So it is very your own responsibility to keep your personal identification very safe. Once you get the job, like in Australia, HR department of that particular company, or if they outsource it, they recruit you. They are even not allowed to get your tax file number. But many cases, in first interview, they asked it. It doesn't mean, they will compromise or they misuse it. But what I mean is, until and unless legally required, do not disclose your privacy information. In Australia, there is a strict law regarding privacy law. Even if in this taxation matter, I highly encountered with many compromise and fraud cases. There are scammers. I don't know how, government is also, trying controlling it. But for individual level, in a business also, the data theft, the privacy and information theft is a big problem. And then our many clients they were really, really suffering on it. So what I want to, again, stressfully mention you all that. Do not disclose your private information until and unless you are legally need to do so.
Understood. That's clear.
And then the scammers, high number.
There's a lot of scams. I mean, I get text messages all the time.
Yeah, in other areas there were less scam and less theft, less fraud. But I don't know in other areas. Being in tax industry, there were many, many cases every year. More than thousands and thousands individual taxpayer were really suffering from it, and government, is still trying investigating it. But every year this is increasing in Australia. This is a serious problem.
Understood. We do have a question from the audience. Says Heather, you may have seen that Lisa. It says, and this would be.
Do you want me to read it? Do you want me to read it? I'll read it out because I'll answer the first part and then I'll pass the second part on, because Heather says she's trying to work out a good name for her startup and she feels it's very important. She said, I can't get an ABN until she has a name. Is it okay to claim expenses prior to getting an ABN? And what determines the start date of a business? So I'm going to answer the first part and then I'm going to pass over the bit about claiming expenses. Okay, so a little bit of advice, Heather, is you can actually start the business under your own name. You actually don't need a business name to actually start a business. So you would register your ABN under your personal name. And then once you've decided on your business name, then register your business name, because they're all attached to your ABN. So I trade under my business name initially. And then I registered Solopreneur Success, which is my business name, which I trade under as well. So that's kind of part of it. Don't let not having a business name stop you from starting, is the answer there from my bit. And I'm going to ballpark the whole ABN tax question.
Well, I think I also answered this. I had an ABN from years ago. It was a consulting ABN. If I now start another business, which is Job Search Professional Skills, I called it. You can register that name through Australian Securities ASIC.
Yes.
But it still attaches to your own ABN. So you can have different names under the same ABN. You don't have to have
I think I have about 8 at one stage, because I was trying to pick the right one for my business and then I couldn't pick them. So I took about 8 altogether over a period of time. And then I have 3 that I use, but they're all under the one ABN. They're all registered at ASIC. It's about $38 for 1 year or 80 something for 3 years, I think. So it's not an expensive one.
$37 for 1 year.
Thank you.
Yes, and don't let scammers, or not scammers, but people often send you, say, oh, you want to register your company name or your business name, and they'll charge you a lot more. You don't have to do that.
Okay, so I'm going to put in a link into chat, which will help Heather. Heather, Service New South Wales have a concierge service for helping people go through the startup stage in regards to registering ABNs and things like that. So get in touch with the Service New South Wales. That link will take you to the right page.
That was too far, Lisa. Visiting the accountant is very easy way.
Yeah, but no, this is legals. This is business government legals.
All right.
Yeah. So Dila,
they support for each and everyone, right?
So Dila, back to you then.
Go talk about claiming.
Yes. So when can you start saying this is a business? Do you have to register ABN first, or you can do it before then?
No, actually, on first part, Lisa is very correct. You don't really have to different business name to start a business with, but you have to have an ABN to start with your business. You don't need a business name, but you compulsorily have to have an Australian business number. As Lisa says, different government authorities, Service New South Wales also help for that, getting Australian business number. And it is very, very easy to get Australian business number if you go through the Australian Taxation Office website and then just fill the form and provide your details. You can get that.
And I think
ultimately, as an accountant, I'm sorry?
It's free to do, I believe.
Yeah, free to do it. Free to do it. You don't have to pay for it. Australian Taxation Office has organized all that. Just you need to visit the website and lodge it. Or if you go to your accountant, they might charge you fee based on their hour or professional services. But it is very easy. It's a technical thing. Very easy to get that Australian business number. It is a 11-digit number. Again, you have to make it very, very confidentiality that you need to maintain it. And the one thing, you can start your business without your business name, but you cannot start business without Australian business number registered in Australia.
I always, with my clients, I always suggest if they're not sure about, whether they should be a sole trader or a company or have a trust. So that question around, what structure of business I should have, I always say go and speak to an accountant, because an accountant can give them, proper advice on the best structure depending on their circumstances.
That's absolutely right. Correct.
No, and look, accountants, they're in it all the time, so they wouldn't know the answer.
Claiming expenses, yeah. You can just claim that expenses before you start your business is a preliminary expenses. Before you start your business, if you have spent it any amount, you can collect or have a proper record of all that expenses, and those expenses are preliminary expenses, right? If you have researched over, if you thinking for business and you have bought a book even, and if you attended a seminar, if you took a different preparatory class, like for strong knowledge on that particular field, or you want to be a very, very specific on that particular business startup that you want to start with, you can collect all that investment as a preliminary expenses. And once you register a business, according to your nature, the type of business might be different, like the structure, sole trader, company, trust, partnership, whatever you choose to go. Before registering that business, all that expenses are preliminary expenses, and then you can take that expenses later after registering your appropriate type of business. You can take all that preliminary expenses to your business and can claim as an expenses, as long as there is a nexus. You need to prove tax office at the end of the day that you have spent that for your business startup. If you did a research, if you read a book, if you attend a seminar, if you took a training.
This is a good point, because part of it is common sense. The tax law is sort of trying to have common sense. And
I also add that you can't claim expenses until you start making money.
Okay? Yes, there is no point. You will not be getting any,
it doesn't help with tax. So you've actually got to make money to be able to claim expenses against. So, yeah.
Yeah. And look, I use an ABN to contract previously too. Now, there are regulations, so you just be aware. If you, they'll often want workers' comp and some other insurances, public liability insurance, professional indemnity perhaps, which is one thing which is important, but it allows me to, let's say, have a few different interests going, and I can use my laptop for each of them. If one makes a loss, well, the reality is it's sort of offset, because I'm not going to allocate a portion of my laptop to this business and not that business.
On that note, Declan, the professional indemnity insurance, worker compensation insurance, they are different in the sense that if you work as a contractor basis with someone else, your principal contractor need to organize that worker compensation for you. And then if you are providing service to the public, you have to have within your business, you have to have worker compensation and public liability. Along with, you need to have professional indemnity. If in case your service will damage anyone because of your advice or because of your service,
I think Liz, you definitely in your programs would advise certain insurance. You can't accept it unless they have certain insurance.
Absolutely. I'll pop a link into the chat. Just really quickly, so I deliver a service on behalf of New South Wales State Government as a business advisor and helping people basically start and grow businesses. So I've just put the Business Connect link into chat. You can go on there and you can find a local business advisor that's local to yourself and book in with them, and you get 4 hours. It's fully subsidised by state government, and you can talk through with the advisor. Now, I'll be really clear, advisors, we're not accountants. Go and see an accountant. We're not lawyers, so we can't give you that sort of advice, but we're here to support you through the stages of going through your business and business growth strategies to, help you make that journey slightly easier in the startup and as you start to grow.
And the reality is, it might just help you decide also what if you're going to go into business or how you're going to go into business.
100%.
It's not necessarily you have to have a business first before you
No,
that
no,
advice.
you can be a startup. You can absolutely be a startup. So the link's a generic link to the whole Business Connect New South Wales government site. And then if you go to find an advisor, you can either find someone local or you can pop my name in and you can find me, you know, and get you 4 hours. I do it over a period of time. So yeah.
No, fantastic. So if there's any final questions, just put them in the chat box or the Q&A box. And as people tend to put in the chat box. Also, if yourself, Lisa, or Adila, you have any site or resources that you'd like to promote.
So obviously I have a Facebook group.
As do I, but mine is more employment, just so you know.
Yes, and mine's more sole trader.
I have done a lot of seminars on things like starting a business. So I'm just going to post something.
Put yours in there. So I've just popped my Facebook group in there. It's called Solopreneur Success. We've got, you know, and really it's full of business owners, and it's a support group, and you're allowed to post about your business on a Wednesday, but it's about, you know, gaining knowledge and things like that about, you know, starting and growing a business. And it's a support group, so you can ask questions in there if you're unsure about anything.
And I've just posted a link to one of the events I'm running, which is creating a side hustle.
Awesome.
Side business, and that's on the 29th on a Wednesday. It will be both online and hopefully live as well. The live will be more restricted attendance because it will be at a startup hub. And we've got 3 speakers there. One has done online training, has 350,000 students. One has done 2 little e-commerce businesses. We're now starting a fintech startup, which is more a disruptive startup, which they call, which is like trying to take over an area in the industry. So, but she's done a couple of e-commerce side. Another one is more of an e-service one, which links you to a virtual assistant. So if you would like to check out that meetup, I've just posted it on there. Usually we'll get, when it's live, we have about 50 something people. That's often how much they can fit in the venue, but we're restricted due to COVID to about 20 something for this event, but we'll also be listing online. And Dila, if you have anything, just post it up on there. I'll also post some.
I have posted the EduU's link.
Okay.
And then I can see one, you know, very good friend from our Nepali diaspora. Probably Lisa will answer on it later. But he asked the Upen Adhikari, thank you for the question. Looking for business plan resources for a startup. Lisa from Service New South Wales, is there anything for this? And then I'll answer.
Where are you reading
I think
that?
we answered that. I think we answered that one, didn't we?
No, but from the Facebook page, there is one looking for business plan resources for a startup.
Yeah, I posted a business plan in this link, if you can get to that. Okay. Otherwise, what you can do, just Google businessplan.gov.au.
Okay.
So businessplan.gov.au, absolutely.
If you go to the student job page where you hosted this live,
yes. Okay.
You can see that questions. Yeah.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll post it on the student job page.
Yeah.
I'll find that.
And I would like to thank you, Upen Adhikar. I believe he's from Nepali diaspora. And then you can visit the accountants, lawyer, and to have some sort of brainstorming. As Lisa said, you can go to businessplan.gov.au as well, and then just follow the government websites. Better to have a general idea. You can meet the accountants, business planner, or lawyer to know about the Australian legalities, how to start the business at a very, very initial phase.
Terrific. And I've also posted a few, I guess, groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. There's also a student job LinkedIn page as well.
In the meantime, I would like to ask you, Lisa, if there is any program for, like we are not only an accountant business advisor as well, for accountant business advisor, Service New South Wales.
So I just want to be really clear. I don't work for Service New South Wales. I'm a contractor and I deliver a program. Okay.
Okay, good.
So yes, look, thank you everyone for joining. If there's any final words, what I've put up there is just a few groups relating to getting a job, but also I will be also posting sort of business stuff on those groups as well. And there's a bunch of videos that attach. If you look up Student Job Australia, no S at the B, someone else had taken that URL. There's also a LinkedIn page, a Facebook group, and a Facebook page that you can see some of the previous videos relating to employment as well. I believe there's another event also coming from Student Job, which deals more with mindset, which is how do you get into the right mindset to get the job and expand your career and perhaps even start a business. So that's what, and thank you, Roshan, for the comments. So what we'll do is we've got a few minutes left. Any final words from our panelists here, Lisa or Dila?
Give it a go. Go for it. Don't be scared.
Start a business on the side.
Go and start a business. Go and start a side hustle. And then, you know, as that grows, you can change it into a full-blown business. But yeah, don't be frightened of it. You know, it's a journey. And honestly, I took the leap, I don't know, about 9 years ago out of corporate world to do this. And it's had some scary moments, but I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I really wouldn't have done.
Thanks, Lisa. It's very good. Just go and start it. I second Lisa, and then I add just few words. Be conscious with your data privacy, and then always think twice. Many things are in a website. You just really don't need to meet the accountants to start with. You don't need to spend much, you know, with accountant, lawyers, or any other fees. But you have to have Lisa's 2 words: your passion and creativity. Just start it, think it twice, you know, less expenses first, investment time-wise and knowledge-wise to start a business. And then being an accountant, I would like to, you know, this is the tax time. I thank you all for listening to us, and thank you, Diklam and team, for providing this opportunity for us. And we are at Sydney CBD, Innovative Associates, Tax Accountants and Business Advisors. If you have any questions, you can email us or call us at our office.
Type your business name in.
Yeah, I will post later on. And then feel free. It's a free advice. And then if you really need a tax returns, company setups, or any other business advisory, services, then we can help you out there. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thanks.
Terrific. And just everybody copy the links that they do. Once we end, obviously, the webinar, you'll lose all those things. So copy that beforehand. I'll just add one more word before we got 1 minute left. Some people might be conscious, if I go for a job, will they worry that I'm doing something on the side? The reality is, these days, it's not such a big deal. We are also quite aware. And being in Australia, we are a little bit more open to that sort of thing as well. We are open to think people doing stuff on the side. In fact, I have found that a person doing things are to a large degree more productive. They're more aware that when they are there in the office, they are doing more. And I've seen a lot of resumes. I've employed people when the person has had a side hustle. I sort of feel like they're going to get the job done. Because once you have a business, there's no excuse. You don't get paid by the hour in a business. You get paid by results.
That's exactly right.
You know you're responsible. Yeah. So it doesn't harm you, I believe, to have that on your resume, have that on your LinkedIn profile. So yes, there might be some old-fashioned sort of people, but I think it probably more stands out than interferes with it. And they can always ask you the question, how committed are you to this role? And the reality is that you just say you are committed because most of the time that first side hustle is not the stuff that you end up doing in the future, but it will teach you a lot of lessons.
Part of the journey.
Part of the journey. At some point you will learn where you should be going in life as well and where you can make the most money. So thank you, everybody. Make sure you copy that. We're going to end it in about 10 seconds. I'd like to thank Lisa Pendon and also Dila Karel.
Yeah.
Yes, and Dila, can you just post your organization in the chat box?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I
Can
did.
I,
In the,
and can I just remind everyone, if they're joining my Facebook group, there's a few questions that they have to fill out before they get approved. So
Okay.
just there's a couple of people in there. Just go back and fill out the questions.
Terrific. And I've posted my LinkedIn group, Facebook groups, which are more for jobs and professional skills. But I will be posting entrepreneur stuff on there. The event that I'll be doing on next 2 Wednesdays away. That will be both live and online, and that will be recorded so you can attend that. I have about 8 meetups. So there are entrepreneur and professional job skills. I've posted one where I post both on there. So thank you again, and I will see you soon, hopefully. Thank you, guys.
See you later, everybody.
all.
Have a good night.
thank you.
See
Thank you,
ya.
everyone. Good night.
Bye-bye.